Got that. Wonderful. Just starting a Zoom training. Catch you later. Thank you. Sorry. So I at points in time get into well, that's a little choppy. Um, uh, Things that are beyond the scope of your atypical um, products, programs, and the like. And what I wanted to touch on today, and might be old hat to a lot of people, especially seasoned salespeople and seasoned vets. But like anything else, if there's one or two nuggets out there that you could pick up, win-win. So let me get the heck out of this. Awesome. And the whole power of positivity, and do a ton of reading, much like probably a lot of other folks do in sales. Ultimately, people can pretty well will themselves to success through just being overly optimistic. I'm not saying feed people a load of bull crap, quite frankly, but just being super upbeat, super positive, and folks otherwise gravitate to those that are upbeat and aggressive to what they otherwise do, in comparison to those that just really question everything, or kind of are a bit of a naysayer. So from the standpoint of folks that are out there, whether the clients we're working with are positive or negative in nature, or just kind of middle of the road, the reality of things is that folks definitely gravitate to those and want to deal with people that are upbeat and positive, and really not talk down about anything. Is it a good time to buy? Yes. Is it a good time to sell? Yes. Are rates this? Yes. Yes. I mean, the more upbeat and overly optimistic, I think the better that we are. We have to be realistic. I'm not sitting here saying, let's start, kind of making things up from that standpoint, but being overly optimistic and positive about the opportunities that are out there and available for people is really what it's all about. I've joked with people in sales from the time that they even get out of bed in the morning, that whatever makes folks feel good is what I would really lean on. There are some people that and I joke in here, the minute you wake up, with regards to outfits, certain clothes make people feel better, men and women alike. And funny, but and granted, I'm dating myself, but there's a movie with Jeff Goldblum many years ago called The Fly, where he was a scientist that created this little pod to transport a human being from one place to another place. But the guy had every single outfit in his closet was the exact same. He liked them and made him feel good, and he had one less thing he had to worry about or choose from. So I'm not going necessarily to that extent, but from the end of the day, whatever makes you feel good about yourself with what you wear, whatever music even pumps you up. Some people like just the solitude, and I enjoy country music, classical music, rock and roll, whatever it is. There's certain things that get you excited and revved up. It's important. Those things are important before an appointment. Getting yourself in the best, in the right headspace. I know definitely, and it goes without saying, but the more healthy and eating well and staying hydrated, we feel better about ourselves. It's easier for us to stay upbeat and adapt to a changing environment, in comparison to, I ate a bunch of junk food. I got a stinging headache. I'm just, I haven't had any water today at all. This is all silly standard stuff, but this really, without you even realizing it, affects how well we interact with others. A lot of us have kids, me as well. And I know from kids at a very young age, they don't even get this, but yet it happens anyway. We're old enough and wise enough to realize, how the external factors and everything, works against our psyche. But even young kids that are running around playing soccer or playing basketball, and they come off the court or the field, and and they're just brimming with excitement, and their endorphins are racing because they're just, they're in that moment. Not to be understated with what it is that we do here. The whole can-do mentality and exuding confidence, I touched base on that first bullet item point. But with anything, I'm going to do everything in my power to accommodate what someone would like And if I get to the end of the line and I cannot do something that they would like, then I have to be realistic as to why, one, and two, what do they need to do to get to where they want to go? And there are all walks of life. There are clients that we engage with our agents and our loan officers that want to get into an FHA with down payment assistance, but yet they're working on getting their permanent resident alien card. Right now, they're an individual taxpayer identification numbers, ITIN. Well, the ITIN needs more down payment than what the FHA and or FHA with down payment assistance would allow. So your options are either to come up with gift money, to get into the ITIN, to get the permanent resident alien card, to save more money. I mean, you're kind of at a bit of an impasse, that there's certain things that, we're only so strong to try to work within what situations people create for themselves. But even on a situation like that, is that person ever going to buy? They are. Eventually, they're going to buy. It's just a matter of us being there at that time. So it might be pigeonholing into, if you have no gift money available, how much are you saving per month? How long is it going to take to save the money? Do you have an application into the INS? Are we working on getting the green card? It could be anything in here. There are people that are in between jobs. How's the job market looking? We need to get you back working and gainfully employed in order to qualify, and just touching base, not to be rude, but, I ask close-ended questions, and I would suggest to all ask close-ended questions of, do you have interviews? How is everything going? Are you in an industry where they have second and third callbacks? How's everything looking? If I have an idea as to what the expectation and income is, I can use that to pre-qualify and at least put some numbers together. But, if it turns out, hey, we need to get you gainfully employed, then that's quote unquote call to action, to get things in place. This whole control what you can control, and this came out of the Mike Ferry recent. This is in every sales retreat. I've coached a lot of different youth sports over the years, and really the kind of mantra is that 3 E's: control what you can control. Is energy, effort, and enthusiasm. Nobody can take that from any of us. So the energy we bring to the table, the effort we put forth, the enthusiasm in anything that we do, is paramount. Nobody can take that from you. And quite frankly, in anything that, no matter where you are in this world, even with regards to somebody that it would be homeless, or somebody that lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion, somebody that has a great job or not such a great job, gainfully employed or not, but no one can take away the 3 E's that go into it. And if we're putting it forth, great things come back to us. It'd be a gross understatement. If we're lacking any of these, then it just means that your probability and chance for success is a little less than would be if you were bringing it to the table. So I'm not saying you can't succeed, but it just becomes a little bit more challenging, and your probability for success is a little less, with less enthusiasm, a little less effort, a little less energy involved. The negativity that comes into our lives with regards to sales, as best as we can, and really at the end of the day, great salespeople can put themselves in different roles. They're not playing the exact same role. So arguably would be the Academy Award winning actors and actresses of the world. They're really, really good at separating things that are occurring in their personal life. Could be anything, could even be from a work standpoint, could be other transactions we're working. And everything comes down to the client at the time, the moment at the time, and not at a point where we let any of that other negativity creep in and affect the way that we conduct ourselves, affect those 3 E's, and coming into how we carry ourselves and what we do. Next line item down here, and anybody that's been in sales for a minute or two, congratulations to the real world, but even the most successful salespeople fail on a daily basis. Everyone does. We all do. It doesn't matter how much experience anyone has. To suggest that you never fail means you're a liar. So the reality of things is, if you don't ask, we'll never know. And you definitely secure your fate and secure failure by never trying. And we learn this at a very young age. We could even be maybe even pre-puberty or just the onset of puberty when we're unsure of ourselves. And I just like, I don't know. Am I, my feet are too big, my nose is too long, my ears are too small. It could be anything, and we're just like, oh gosh. There could be, someone, guy, girl alike, that maybe at a young age we have a crush on, and without ever asking, we'll never ever know. You secure your failure by just never trying. The worst that anybody's going to say to you is no. And the reality of things is, rather than a long drawn out process, if they're refusing to do business with you, probably be good to know sooner than later, so we're not spinning our wheels, and thinking there might be, some success, or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. This concept of willing ourselves to success is basically being so overly confident and optimistic that I just have this notion that we will win. We will come out positively, and not at a point where that there's any thought in our mind that something would not go well. Okay, we make mistakes, own it. So there are things that they're gonna happen that didn't happen the way that we would have liked. There are times that we get information that might not be correct. There are instances that people mislead us in our industry, and we just work through it, not at a point where, now I'm going to sit here and start pointing the finger at anyone. It's just a matter of overcoming and work through anything that pops up or that might arise. This benefits, and I put together here, sell benefits to all you do and you offer, but with regards to, and from the standpoint of us, on the lending side of it, it's silly to even suggest that the value of homeownership. I talked to on a three-way call with one of our loan officers' parents and their kid, and the parents are going to co-sign with their child in order to buy a home, and the child, on the exact same conversation, completely floored their parent by saying if they live their life right, they will never own a home for as long as they live. Why would I ever want to buy a house? And even just like for what we do, I'm on the phone like, oh gosh, from a parent standpoint, they just got to be, why would I'm willing to help you. This is a really good thing. There's a lot of upside to it. And from the kid's standpoint, never being a homeowner, sees it as a quote unquote ball and chain. And that's a lot of younger people. The age of first time home buyers is kind of creeping. There are a lot of people that are in that, Gen Z and whatever, like the newest demographic and younger grouping of people that just think it's free and easy to be renting. At the end of the day, the renter is making their landlord a very rich individual because they are the ones that are paying for that mortgage payment. And it's the landlord and the property owner that's getting all the property appreciation, that's getting all the tax benefits. The second line item down in here, tax benefits, I will say this: every first-time home buyer, unless they prepare tax returns for a living and are licensed enrolled agent or certified public accountant, EA or CPA, licensed through IRS, unless they do this for a living, if they're a first-time home buyer, they have no idea what the IRS will allow you to write off to reduce your taxable income. It's going to happen anyway. You can wait for next April 15th or next calendar year when you file your tax returns, and then discover the overwhelming benefits of homeownership. But for these first-time home buyers, and we're putting people into $4,000 a month total payments, including taxes and insurance, the reality of things is, based on the mortgage interest, you're probably somewhere upwards of, on a $4,000 payment, probably $37,000, $38,000 a year is mortgage interest alone, tax deductible. Property taxes on an annual basis, are probably going to be somewhere up at the $8,000 or $9,000 tax deductible. Homeowners insurance tax, your tax deductions for a $4,000 a month payment are probably going to run you into the low to mid $40,000 in benefits, in comparison to taking the standard deduction the IRS gives you as a renter. So the fact of the matter is that on a simple little 30% tax bracket, probably looking at a $12,000 or so swing to the positive side of whatever you otherwise pay in taxes every year or what you get in a refund every year. It's that material. It's a lot of money. And for most people that we do business with, they're not accustomed to getting $10,000 to $12,000 in a bonus from their employer every year. I'm not suggesting no one out there gets bonuses. There are places of employment and job occupations that goes with your work. But the overwhelming majority of people do not get that. The IRS literally, as a homeowner, is giving you a quote unquote annual bonus in a tax refund for being a homeowner. The IRS wants everyone to be homeowners. They want to provide these benefits to people throughout the course of the United States. And if I think they had it their way, and I mentioned this to a handful of people in recent months, the IRS would have every single person in the United States of America own a home. They'd have more pride in their neighborhoods. I think theft and vandalism would go down, crime would go down, people would care about their areas more. Goes without saying. But the overwhelming tax benefits, if they want to get down to the nitty gritty of exactly what it means to them in their situation, I would suggest to every client, contact your tax preparer. They're going to break it all down for you. This whole notion here, savings per month, skip a payment, refund, I'm just going to kind of touch on this briefly, but the one in the middle here, skip a payment on a purchase transaction, the month after closing, unless you fund into the month and get an interest credit. But if I closed a deal today on May 17, there is no June payment. For first-time home buyers, they have no concept of that. Even if they have purchased homes in the past, they may have forgotten. So the reality of things is, if I close a deal today, first payment due is July 1st. No payment for June. What does that mean? One, it means it's more money in your monthly budget you're not used to having. And two, if you want to buy that couch set, you want to buy the flat screen TV, you want to, get new furnishings for the extra bathrooms or bedrooms or whatever it is that you have in the new house, all that can come to you the month after closing when you have that extra money in your budget, rather than be at a point where you're advancing money prior to closing and then possibly putting yourself in harm's way as far as funding in the eventual final underwriting approval. So the extra money that you have in your budget the month after closing, it's a good selling point. It's going to happen anyway. You can wait for them to be surprised by it, but the reality of things is that it's good. It's a good upsized benefit. The savings per month and the refund from an impound account comes on refinances. So most refinances, people save money, and then the current impound account, there is money that comes back as a refund post-closing. So this is referring on refis more than purchases, the savings and the refund from a current impound account. If they sold the property outright and they were and whether they're buying another home, or whether they're just renting, then whatever they have built into their current impound account is going to come to them as a refund at closing. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the bank to process that refund. But there is money. It's not the bank's money. There is money that's built up into that impound account. And when we can determine what that is by just looking at the monthly mortgage statement. Private homeownership goes a long way. You get to a point where when it's your home, you can do whatever the heck you want to it. As long as you're not in an HOA, you got to stay within whatever the CC&Rs will allow. But this goes without saying. And the other offsetting is the investing and appreciating assets in comparison, to throwing money away. So, from a homeowner standpoint, as the home is going up over time, that is all your money. So it's not a situation where once again, you're making your landlord a very rich individual, or maybe the landlord is benefiting from all the money you're investing into payments. From a standpoint of benefits, I mean, it is not to be understated by any means. And the more that we're overwhelming people with the upside to what they're doing and why they're doing it, better chance to increase your probability of success and get them to move forward and want to close with you. The standpoint of customer service, and this goes without saying, but smothering clients with customer service, attention, and kindness, and overwhelming them with that, people gravitate to that. They appreciate the fact that we're there for them. I've had instances with people that then, and usually when clients are dissatisfied, they'll make their way to me and be frustrated. And at the end of the day, want to complain, and generally speaking, it's justified. I've had clients that call and are looking for a status update. I've touched base with folks within the company, and or it could be even agents that are working, with another lender outside of here. And I just can never get anything. I feel like I always have to call them and ask for updates and ask for this, and they are never getting back with me. There was an agent that came back, and the loan officer outside of here went back to them and said, the client already got an update last week. I'm not going to sit here and bow down to them and continue to give them updates and just jump through hoops, at their beck and call. And I mentioned to the agent, I said, it's frustrating because from the clients and borrower standpoint, they obviously they're unsure about something. Obviously they're feeling like, I don't know this process as well as you. If you could just, kind of keep me informed, let me know what's happening, keep me in the loop with what the expectations are. Certainly they feel a lot better about it. And at the end of the day, everyone gets more referrals. The more happy the client is throughout the course of the transaction, the more business you're going to get referred from other people they know, friends, family, coworkers, and the like, and repeat business from them over the years. Okay. It's very rare of clients for ours in California, especially Southern California, that buy their first home and live and die in it. The numbers are like the 1 or 2%. They're going to be repeat clients for somebody somewhere down the road. The oversell and under deliver is all bad. So as best as possible, to do what you say you will, and when you say you will, if you create your own timelines and your own expectation and stay within that, I think people gravitate to that and appreciate it. And you set your own time clock. You set your own expectations as to what can be done and when it can be done. And if you hold up your end of the bargain, I don't think anybody would ever chastise you for that, ever. We create appointments, and this is amazing to me. Whether the client creates a time for an appointment, whether we create a time for an appointment, it could be a follow-up call at a particular time. Shocking to me. There are instances that people come to the office here, to meet our agents or loan officers, and well, yeah, the traffic was this and that was this, and the reality of things is, we're going to have to kind of maybe look a little further ahead of the curve, because timeliness is, people use that term, timeliness is next to godliness, but people definitely appreciate and feel that if another believes that their time is more important than someone else, does not bode well by any means. Mike Ferry, on every sales retreat I've ever been to, impresses showing up your appointment 15 minutes early, rehearsing the script, knowing what you're saying, make sure that you're looking sharp, and if you needed to comb your hair, brush your hair, whatever the case may be, that you've done everything that you otherwise need to do, such that you're ready to rock and roll the second that you're on. Okay. Most of the people here, I don't think that I've seen a lot of the appearance, in that issue, but the reality of things is every single person in this world prejudges another in a second. And from the standpoint of seeing them, the visual, it could be something where they see on social media. It could be something where they see us in person, whatever we're posting, anything that's out there, but they definitely prejudge very, very quickly. And a lot of times it's even before we have an opportunity to say a word. It could be also in our voice inflection, where just, we're not very upbeat. And just the voice inflection was something that was a negative point against us. But the notion that some people have where, I'm going to do what I want to do, and the clients just have to. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm not telling anyone how to live, how to act, how to conduct their business, but everything that's in here is under that almighty header of increasing your chance for success. And the more that we're doing and hitting these high points, the better chance you have to succeed and close more transactions and make more money, hands down. This is another great Mike Ferry that get clients to talk about themselves. But the more that people in you're taking interest in what it is that that they're talking about or discussing, and not just kicking them to the curb, goes a long way. It could be certain instances that clients are. I mean, we can try to redirect them back in so they're not going off on a tangent. But the more that we take interest in people, and also are knowledgeable in not only what we do, but also current events, things that might affect them. If you're working up in the Los Angeles area and you didn't know that the writers were on strike, it's a really big deal. And you're dealing with someone that might be affected in that industry, probably should have known that. Probably should have been a little ahead of the curve and had some, working knowledge and understanding about what's happening in that. And like I say, that might hold true with anything. There might be instances that people bring up current events, local events, anything. I'm not in the very next bullet item down here. I try not to take a stance on anything and anything like religious based or political based, and try to appeal to the masses. So even when it comes down to discussing current events and the like, is it important to be conversational and knowledgeable? Heck yeah. Things that might affect someone. If you have someone that's a teacher and the teachers union is renegotiating contracts and benefits and things of that nature, you can make conversation on that. If nothing else, hey, I support everything you're doing. Do you get any insight from your union as to what's happening or how things are progressing and when this might be resolved? It could be just like little bits and pieces of info, and showing that, hey, I care and I'm aware of what's happening, goes a really long way. And it could be anything, the most minute, local news issues, up to the largest in scope that's out there. Once again, I'm certainly not on my soapbox and preaching, but I will say you have a greater chance for success if you appeal to the masses, which means the most people out there, in comparison to taking really strong stance or points of view on things that are divisive. And it could be anything. There are people that have very strong convictions over their religion and their faith, over a Democratic or Republican Party, over the legal right to abortion or no abortion. I could go on and on and on. Everyone's entitled to have these opinions. When it starts getting to imposing that maybe on another, the reality of things is there are going to be people that are turned off by a strong stance that any of us in sales take, to the extent where they don't want to conduct business with you. And our salespeople may come back and say, well, then screw them. I don't want to do business with them either. Then fine. You're completely entitled to do whatever you want. And you can cherry pick and or set the bar so high to suggest, that I create these qualifying or quantifying factors, such as I'm only going to do business with people that are 6'5" and taller. I'm only going to do business with people that are 75 years or older. Could be anything. You're going to lose a lot of business. There's going to be people that are 6'4" that are a great client, but yet, you know what? Not going to happen. Those are silly examples. There could be somebody at 74 that's begging for a real estate and or loan transaction with any of our people, and oh no, you didn't meet my criteria. Sorry, not going to be able to help you. Those are silly, simple, but the more that we, create hoops that people otherwise have to jump through, the bigger, the less deals that we're going to close. Goes without saying. I've spoken in the past about the way that we communicate with others and ending conversations with expectations as to what the parties expect of one another. What does the salesperson expect of the client? What does the client expect of the salesperson? What is the process? How long does it take from here? When are we going to speak again? What are the actions? What on earth is happening? If there's a call to action and there's an action plan in place, and we're moving through that from step to step to step, you got a lot better chance of getting paid than if everything's loosey-goosey. You have the mentality, well, I'd like to keep everything kind of fresh and loose and really not like commit to too much. And it might work for some people, but you're not going to make as much as somebody that keeps everything on a time clock and is much more detail oriented. The clients that we work with, and I've said this hundreds of times over the years, if they knew our industry well, they would not be working with us. If they could conduct business in the real estate industry by themselves, why on earth would they ever seek our assistance? They never would. So from the standpoint of realizing that client doesn't know everything there is to know, and I'm not suggesting maybe necessarily we know everything there is to know, but there's something that holds true with you're seeking my real estate professionalism for a reason. And from that standpoint, I will lead you along. I will communicate with you with what is the expectation? What are we doing next? What's happening? How does this work? When should we be closing? Are there things that are going to pop up in the middle that are going to surprise everybody? Probably. It's going to happen in every transaction. I get contacts and calls from individuals that suggest I have the most difficult borrowers or buyers. All my clients are this. All my deals are challenging. I don't get anything easy. The fact of the matter is that all deals are challenging. The kind of the days of yesteryear when things are falling out of the sky, from COVID standpoint, where as a listing agent, that you just put the sign up and here they come, and you're getting just an unbelievable amount of dozens and dozens of offers. That ship sailed. But it doesn't, it's not bad, it's not good, it just is what it is. So having said that, I think that the more that people have a good, sense of expectation, what they're doing, when they're doing it, they have their head on straight. And then in the middle of your conversations with them or our conversations with them, they'll never be at a point where they don't know. I'm unsure. They'll know in certainty, and they'll know where they stand on the next corner they come to. What are we doing? Where are we going? Not to be understated by any means, but this also holds true with being positive and upbeat about the process and what takes place. For those folks that we do business with, and there are some people in our industry that believe that the client needs to see us as somebody that never has any fun. There's always work. And I don't want them to see me in that light. And I don't ever want to, have them know that I'm ever, have any, personal time or lighthearted time or can ever laugh or joke about anything. Once again, I think you're gonna increase your business and do a little bit better at realizing that, hey, what we do can be enjoyable. It doesn't have to be a grind. Now, from the standpoint of work, there are some things that are a little bit more enjoyable than others. Everybody talks about prospecting. It's not the most fun out there. It's a necessary evil. Or let's say not even evil. It's a necessary piece and or step for success. And if you want to be successful, you have to market. You have to prospect. Things aren't going to just fall out of the sky. But embracing that for what it is and having a little bit of fun along the way. I've mentioned this over the years that there's two types of people out there, and the one person that says I have to work today, and the other person that says I get an opportunity to work today. And if you have that mentality, and it gets back to the Academy Award winning actors and actresses that are out there, The more that you embrace what we do and look at it with, I have an opportunity to work today, an opportunity to succeed today. It and if you can get that through your head, you'll make more money than somebody that has this I have to work mentality. I have to this, I have to that. And at the end of the day, you're embracing the challenges that otherwise come to you as a real estate professional. So, end all say all is, definitely, from the standpoint of having fun, on a completely personal note, I have, and I've mentioned to some of you guys in the past, but I have 3 daughters. They're 20, 22, and 24. And my middle kid is very excellent student, always straight A's, very, dialed in, can definitely have a good time, but she takes, what she does very, very seriously. And when she went off to college, she just graduated from San Diego State last Friday. And this is a quick aside, but when she went off to college as a freshman, and we're talking and just kind of having a real heart-to-heart conversation, I mentioned to her, don't let your schoolwork get in the way of you enjoying your college experience and having fun. I know you're going to do well, but have some fun along the way. Don't be at a point where you get so wrapped into it that you're so stressed and the anxiety is just brimming that you're not enjoying things along the way. Now, we all have to have, a little bit of downtime. We all have to do things that please us and are enjoyable. It could be anything. It could be that some people enjoy, peace and quiet and solitude. Other people want to have, loud music playing. Some people want to be by themselves. Other people want to be with a large group. Some folks enjoy time with their family. Others not so much. Whatever it is. However, some people like to exercise. Others not so much. Whatever it is, but that the little things in the middle bode well when it comes to the way we conduct ourselves and interact with our client base and everybody, even the other people that we work with. And last little nugget of info in here, in this whole compete for clients business, our industry, and I'm not saying anything that been in the industry for a minute or two realize, but competition definitely makes the world go round. I don't think it's unfair if somebody does not do business with us, ask why. Can I just a little bit of feedback, is it just out of curiosity, why did you opt to go with a competitor in comparison to go with me? Or why did you go with this other company or brokerage other than me? Feedback is good. Worst they're going to do is give you some constructive criticism that might help you get the next deal, rather than just, well, they didn't do business with me and we just walk away and quote unquote quit. It could be in the conversation of, hey, just out of curiosity and for my own, purposes, where did I miss the boat? Why are you working with that other brokerage, that other lender, other realtor or broker, whatever the case is? And the chances are they'll answer the question. And the answer to the question could be an opportunity for you to overcome the objection. It could be something very simple and silly. You're like, oh my gosh, that's nothing. No problem. I'm happy to do that. In comparison, for a real estate agent, the other person, when we go look at properties, is I can hop in the car with them. We can drive around and see homes. Whereas you want me to take my own car and I'm driving all over the place. And it could be something silly. It could be something easily overcome from the standpoint of competing for clients' business and then feedback and constructive criticism that comes with that. Just sharpens your sword and your ability to win on the next one. And it might be a situation where there's, I'm not going to be able to appeal to everyone. No one is. But it might be a situation where, man, I didn't realize that I was coming across that way. Or I didn't realize that what I said or did was offensive. And you can correct it, or you can say, you know what, I don't care. I don't care what they think. But feedback is good. A lot of times clients are not working with us and we get frustrated and say, well, screw them. You don't want to work with me. I don't want to work with you. And all I'm suggesting is at the end of the day, there might be a situation in feedback that comes from that that helps you increase your sales acumen and your ability to close more transactions. So competition makes the world go round, and feedback makes the world go round. And for those that are not receptive to feedback, whether it's positive or negative, I'll say flat out that everybody wants positive feedback. I think everybody in this world, wants to hear like, hey, you're okay. It's all right. You're doing a great job. We all want that. Now, from the moment we're born, we want that positive affirmation. Doesn't always happen, but getting negative feedback is just going to help. It's going to help you. It's going to help me. Something that I may be suggesting or feeling like, oh God, this guy's, I'm just not, I'm not buying into that. I don't feel that someone's being sincere, whatever the case may be. It could be a host of different reasons that they wouldn't otherwise come back to us or want to do business with us. But the reality of things is constructive criticism. And I know a lot of folks out there put out cards, and they want feedback, and they want to put out surveys and have people reply to them as to what they did. But you will gain more from those that give you constructive criticism and feedback than all of those out there that just give you the attaboy, attagirl, that say everything's fine. And I'm not saying, hey, that's great. I really appreciate that. That's wonderful. But if you really want to enhance your sales ability, the constructive criticism and negative feedback is where we all will become infinitely better at what we do. We can find out, like, where did I miss it? Where did I go wrong? What can I do better? All right. That's all that I have today. No, this is a little off mark of what we've discussed in the past, but sometimes it's good to get back to simple basics. Putting my contact information in here, as I always do. I get calls from people all the time, just running scenarios, buying anything that I can ever help anybody with. Buzz me about anything. I'll try to help as best as I can and get some of the most unique scenarios. But where there's a will, there's a way. I'll work in anything. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good boy, Robert. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Greg.
You bet, Miriam. Absolutely.
I love it.
Call me anytime.
Thanks,
I
Greg.
love it. I love it. I love it.
You bet.
Thank you, Greg.